we're going to use an analysis of the Olympic Games in London to study the question, how are judges using the half points? So half points have been in use now for almost 2 years in FEI level tests. The discussion of half points, which was put forward by Wayne Channon about 6-7 years ago, is exactly what motivated me to build this type of analytic, and that's have become global dressage analytics. So it's very appropriate now that I asked the question, how are they being used? And we're going to use this analysis of London to find out. So if we take all 3 tests in London and we look at the frequency, how often different numbers of points were assigned, we get the histogram that's shown above. You can't of course see the occasional 1 or 2 at the bottom here, but what you do see is a really beautiful smooth spectrum between around 6 and 9 points. Obviously 7 is the most likely score that was given at the Olympics, with almost 30% of all notes were 7. Yet what we also see is going from 6 to 6.5 to 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9. There's a sort of a continuous distribution there. There are not big gaps or big dips at the half points. In fact, 39% of all marks given were half points. This already looks encouraging, but we're going to study it a bit more. So, are all the judges using half points in the same way? This is the same graph as we saw on the previous page, but now I've got one color bar for each judge. And so we can ask how often is each score being assigned by each judge. What you see is really encouraging. You see that all 7 judges are using all of the points and half points, in almost exactly the same distribution, one to the next one. In fact, they use them half points between 35% and 45% of the time. Again, really encouraging. Our top judges are using half points in a very consistent way. You can ask the question, do they pull scores up or down? Do I tend to get a 7.5 when I was supposed to, whether before I would have got a 7, or do I get a 7.5 when before I would have got an 8? So the way we can study that is to compare each assigned half point. So every time I find a half point, I look at the average of the other 6 judges and see whether or not this half point is above or below the average of the other judges. So 3.21% of the time it's unchanged. 17% of the time we go up. 90% of the time we go down. The sum of that adds up to the 39% of all the half points. And so the 17.26 and the 18.5 are telling us that this is exactly the same. Judges use half points equally to pull a score higher or lower. 39%. You could ask, is that right? Shouldn't it be 50%? There's as many half points as there is whole points. Well, I think not. Actually, more than 96% of the points awarded in London were 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5 or 9. There were 4 integers there, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and there are 3 half integers, 6.5, 7.5 and 8.5. And so I think we expect 3/7 of the points to be half integers if they're used in exactly the same way as integers. 3/7 is 43%. It's really very close to our observed 39%. And in fact, as I said, the judges are actually using them between 35 and 45% of the time. So again, the frequency of use of half points is really exactly what we would expect. We can be very happy. So conclusion, our top judges are using half points exactly as they use whole points. The possible scores have effectively been expanded from 4 notes to 7 notes. The half points have achieved exactly what we hoped. Judges have the possibility to be more precise with their scoring, and they're doing just that. So thank you, Wayne, for proposing this, and thank you, FEI, for following through with it.